Good evening and welcome to This Is The Day. My name is Sarah Otieno. We are live on Family TV, also live on Family Radio, where the music does the talking. It's very cold. I don't know about you, but hey, huku kuna baridi sana. But I understand Juba na Meru. That is where there is a bit of sun. Well, thank you so much for joining This Is The Day today. Use the WhatsApp number 0786-316-316 and talk to us also through the SMS line 20316 on Facebook and Twitter at Family Radio 316. Well, today we'll be looking at some of the stories that are making headline across our country, and we'll start off with what the DPP is saying. Now, the Director of Public Prosecution, Nurdin Haji, has given his approval for the arrest and prosecution of Emurua Dikir MP Johanna Ngeno for uttering statements intended to stir up ethnic animosity. Well, in a statement today, Haji said that the MP made utterances over the weekend stirring ethnic hatred among different communities residing within the Transmara. Haji said he was satisfied that there was sufficient evidence to initiate the prosecution. He advised all Kenyans to resist and report any attempt to breach Kenya's peaceful coexistence. This comes even after his lawyer alleged that they had no grounds of holding him.
Mpaka sasa polisi ni kama hajajua watafanya jambo gani. Mara tunaambiwa ya kwamba bado wanangojea taarifa kamili kutoka ama instructions from above, na hatujui huko above ni wapi. Labda bado wanaswali na wanangoja Mwenyezi Mungu ama Yesu waeleze vile watafanya. Na wakati huu mheshimiwa wako korokoroni na tunangojea. Hatujui kama atafikishwa kotini, hatujui kama atawachiliwa na dhamana ya, yani hii inaitwa police bail. Hatujajua kamili, na ni kama hakuna mtu anaweza thibitisha vile atafanyiwa siku ya leo. Lakini kama unavyojua polisi hawana ruhusa ya kuweka muda ya zaidi ya masaa 24. Yes, kwa hivyo pengine atawakilishwa mahakamani ama pengine atawachiliwa na kwa dhamana kwa sababu hajafanya kosa lolote.
Well, the MP was today charged with 2 counts of hate speech and offensive conduct. He was charged during a virtual hearing and was accused of using abusive language on September 6th at the Junction area, Olgos Sophia Village. The MP faced a second count of offensive conduct on the same day and the same place. The second charge stated that on a public gathering he directed insults to the presidency. He denied committing the crimes when he appeared before Nakuru Chief Magistrate Elizabeth Osui. The vocal legislator was arrested yesterday at his Mogondo home shortly before 4:30 p.m.
Their statements at our costs to enable us to prepare for the hearing. Secondly, Your Honor, I ask that the accused person, who is a member of parliament for Emurua Dikir consistency.
Well, in other places, Suna East Member of Parliament Junet Mohammed earlier today accused Deputy President William Ruto of being behind a barrage of insult aimed at the President Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, Junet was speaking at former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's Capitol Hill office in Upper Hill, Nairobi, where the ODM party leader was also issued a statement on the rising political temperatures in our country. The MP claimed that Ruto was using his allies and to launch attacks against the president after Emurua Dikir MP Johanna Ngeno was arrested yesterday following his remarks to the president. The deputy president on Monday came out to strongly condemn the insult leveled against Uhuru and his family. Ruto urged leaders to exercise resistance and avoid insults as anger needed and not to be an excuse for using foul language. The outspoken MP urged Ruto to resign from his position and watch from the sideline as the opposition party ODM takes power.
The politics of war and threats and violence. It is dishonest and old school for Ruto to send his people to insult other leaders including the president, then pretend to be telling them to stop. You cannot abuse other leaders to gain power, including mothers of this country. You have no business abusing Mama Ngina, because abusing her is abusing all the mothers of this country. Ruto must stop threatening Kenyans with violence and must not believe he has monopoly over violence. Ruto has claimed he is the one who has made Honorable Raila Odinga the Prime Minister. He has made President Uhuru Kenyatta to be the president of this country. I don't know why he's bitter, because we are waiting now to make himself the president in 2022. Lastly, he should stop insulting and intimidating civil servants of this country. We've seen the other day his people insulting Minister CS Tobiko. That is, and we know the people who are insulting the minister are sent by him. Na tunataka kuambia yeye sasa ya kwamba asimamishe hiyo tabia chafu ambayo ameanza katika nchi yetu ya Kenya ya kutusi serikali ambayo yeye mwenyewe ni deputy president. Kama anaona ya kwamba ametosheka na hiyo serikali na ameshika vitu zake na imetosha kuwe rais ya Kenya, atoke nje, aende apambane nje kama vile sisi tuko nje.
I appeal to these leaders to stand for the united Kenya and tell off those preaching war and issuing threats against fellow Kenyans. This country has known bad times before because of politics. You have gone to war in 1992, 97, and 2007. Nobody should try to take this country to war again because of politics.
Well, Raila, who was hosting a delegation of leaders from Kajiado, also called upon leaders to be cautious with their utterances that could have a far-reaching effect with the backdrop of the 2007-2008 post-election violence. He also stated that the Building Bridges initiative is still on, that nothing will stop reggae.
We are, of course, going through this pandemic of COVID. We are hoping that the curve will level and that in the not too distant future, we are going to be able to open up the country for wider visits and political consultations. They also agree with me that there's need for us, when that time comes, to move with speed and conclude the process of the BBI. I assure them that reggae will soon be back with us here. Nobody can stop reggae.
All right, there we have it. The opposition leader still saying that they will push for the BBI. Well, on the matters of hate speech, after the arrest of Emurua Dikir, a member of parliament, and whatever is happening in our political regime now, do you think that the fight against hate speech is politically influenced? Do you think that the fight against hate speech in our country is politically influenced? Send in your responses and tell us. I'll repeat the question. Do you think the fight against hate speech is politically influenced? Send in your responses through the WhatsApp number 0786-316316 and also through the SMS line 20316. And we are asking the question, do you think that the fight against hate speech has been politically influenced? Looking at what is happening right now with the arrest of Emurua Dikir, a member of parliament, and also the allegations against the DP and his allies. Well, on that note, she's here from Imara, and you're saying, Sarah, NCIC is just a joke. Name one politician who has ever been brought to book and charged for hate speech. Hakuna hata moja. Just arrests and they're told not to repeat. Kesho, they do it again. And the cycle goes on. Shisia, thank you so much for tuning in today. Kipsluk from Nakuru, asante sana for tuning in today. Well, also send in your responses on what you think about the question that we are answering today. Do you think that the fight against hate speech has been politically influenced? That's what I want to hear from you. Still in that news, a section of Kenyan leaders have now called upon their counterparts actually, to refrain from insults and abusive language irrespective of their political sides ahead of the 2022 general election. The leaders, led by Kieni Member of Parliament Kanini Kega, called upon the Deputy President William Ruto to publicly apologize on behalf of his allies who abused President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Even if you disagree with President Uhuru and even disagree with William Ruto, let us not throw epithets at them, because the offices that these individuals carry, the presidency, is an office that must be respected. You stand and start abusing the mother to the president. What are you talking about? What value are you adding to the person you are supporting? Unamwharibia tu wewe, you are interested in your seat.
Hatutakubali viongozi ambao wako na nia kama hiyo ya kufikiria wanaweza leta vurugu, wanaweza leta vitisho ili wapate zile viti wanatarajia kupata huko nyumaye. Na tukaona ni kama kejeli ama irony. Naibu rais akiandika katika mtandao wake kusema kwamba hatakubali mtu yeyote kutusi rais ama familia yake. Ili hali wandani wake ndio wamekuwa wakiongoza vita kumkosea rais heshima na kukosea familia ya rais heshima.
All right. Also, Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru has led a group of women parliamentarians in criticizing Deputy President William Ruto and his allies for launching insults at Mama Ngina Kenyatta. The women leaders broke their silence despite the DP Ruto scolding Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi for disrespecting President Uhuru Kenyatta's mother. Waiguru and Kiambu women representative Gladys Wamushumba accused Ruto of hypocrisy and reprimanding Sudi, yet he was reported the mastermind behind the seemingly coordinated attacks.
Politicians should be alive to the fact that freedom comes with responsibility. As women of Kenya, we demand simple decency and civility and respect to women in general. And we are here to protest the verbal utterances that we have been listening to coming from our leaders just because of some political energy that is negative energy that we do not appreciate in this country. And therefore, we note that the insightful utterances that are a recipe for political confusion, chaos, and regional hatred that resort to bloodshed, which affects mostly women, children, and the vulnerable, are not acceptable in future. Let's put everything on the table. Huu ni mwaka wa kuambiana ukweli. Tuambiane ukweli. Sisi tumekasirika kama wamama, tumesikia uchungu kama wamama, na hakuna ambaye amezaliwa na mama angetaka mama yake aingizwe kwa uchafu wa siasa. Kwa hivyo wamama wetu wapatiwe heshima, na haswa wamama ambao wamefanya kazi tele kuhakikisha ya kwamba Kenya yetu imefika pahali imefika. Mama Ngina Kenyatta, Her Excellency, is a mother of this nation. She has sacrificed so much in her life to become who she is and for us to be where we are as a nation.
All right, still on that note, Joseph from Kiserian, thank you so much for tuning in today. And you're saying on today's topic, I think to some point it is influenced by political interests. Some politicians have made hate speech before and have not been prosecuted. By the way, baridi iko vipi upande huo? Ooh, it's so cold here. I don't know about you, Joseph wa Kiserian, but huku we are freezing. Gikomba listening, Naomi wa Limuru alipea baridi ya Limuru fea izunguke Kenya. This should be Martin. Thank you so much for tuning in today, Martin. Well, do not be left out. Tell us if you think the fight against hate speech in our country has been politically influenced. I can see Sarah on Naivasha and they're saying, hello, that topic is really interesting. Well, it goes without saying that is a capital yes. It has been politically influenced. Look at it this way. If you are not in power or you do not know anyone in power, you will be prosecuted. But if you are a nobody, utalala mahakamani. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, for tuning in. From what I'm getting, clearly it is being affected and influenced by the political interests. Asante sana for that response. Now, in other news, a section of youth, elders and farmers from Nyeri County have dismissed claims that there would be a power vacuum in central Kenya once President Uhuru Kenyatta vacates office after the expiry of his second term. They cautioned politicians hoping to take advantage of the presumed power vacuum in the region to get easy votes during the coming polls that they would be in for a rude shock, arguing that the locals were never short of leaders who could take the mantle to shepherds and regions in the next political dispensation. Now, they insisted that the region was not short of leaders to take over the President Uhuru Kenyatta, and it was time residents were given the freedom and space to make their choices for their preferred leaders. Speaking while endorsing Murang'a Governor Mwangi wa Iria for the country's top seat in Thika Town, the youths said that those who have been campaigning in the region expecting their votes in 2022 should think twice before the region was up, because the region was not up for grabs. Wairia is the only leader from the region to announce his presidential bid on the Civil Renewal Party CRP ticket.
As Nyeri youths, together with opinion leaders, today we are going to endorse Governor Mwangi wa Iria, who will be seeking an elective post for presidential candidate. We are candidates, and we know that he can be able to. We have seen his performance in Murang'a, and here in Nyeri as a backbone of this Mount Kenya region. We must stand together. We must stand in solidarity with one of our own.
Lazima sisi kama tu wa Mlima Kenya tuangalie yule mtu ambaye anaweza ashiwa na Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta na aweze kuongoza nchi vile kama raia wa Mount Kenya na watu wa Kenya wangetaka. Tukiangalia wote tunaona ni Governor Mwangi wa Iria. Ile kazi amefanya yenyewe imejitambulisha yenyewe. Tumeona katika hii Murang'a, the only county iko na factory ya maziwa ni Murang'a peke yake. Tukiangalia mahali kuna kama ICU imejengwa 21 days, tumeona ni Murang'a peke yake. Ukiangalia mahali kuna biashara kubwa ya avocado ni Murang'a. Ukiona mahali
All right, there it is, the endorsement of Mwangi wa Iria there. All right, the Kenya Ports Authority, that is KPA, and the Kenya Pipeline Company, that is KPC, and also the Kenya Railways have formally signed a framework for joint operation under the Kenya Transport and Logistic Network to be overseen by the National Treasury. They call it the KTLN. Well, the framework was signed today following an establishment of the KTLN on August 7th through the executive order by President Uhuru Kenyatta. In the new agreement, the three state agencies will work together under the coordination of Industrial and Commercial Development Corporation, what we call the ICDC. The ICDC will work under the coordination of the National Treasury. Now, the National Treasury Secretary, Cabinet Secretary, that is, Ukur Yatani, oversaw the signing of the ceremony at the KPA headquarters in Mombasa, and he said the framework was part of an agenda for the transformation of the government-owned companies, and he also added that the agreement is aimed in improving the efficiency of KPA, pipeline, and the railways.
That one of them will be the issue of one of the shared services will be on procurement, promotion of market-based transport, encourage greater use of locally manufactured spare parts. That's why the issue of the numerical machining complex is going to be part of these agencies. We've already now placed in the National Treasury to complement, part of your day-to-day operations. We'll be encouraging greater use of locally manufactured spare parts, which I just said, equipment and services, technical services, areas of innovations, because life is continuously changing. Technology is changing every other day. And if we can substitute and make our own spare parts, if we can do our own things together, if local innovation can find space within this arrangement, so there's now need of you now working on your own research and innovation hub, when jointly you can, one innovation center can complement activities of all the others. There will be issues of integration of core freight logistics services, including warehousing, cargo handling, consolidation centers, increased backhauling, among others.
Well, according to the CS, the merging of these three authorities is for the good of the Kenyans. Now, let's wait and see where that takes us as Kenyans. Well, as we take a short break and listen to this song by Toby Mark, I am waiting for your response. Please tell us, do you think that the fight against hate speech in our country has been politically influenced? Send in your responses. And Frank from Thika, and you're saying, I'm watching from Thika, and I think so. I think that the fight against hate speech has been politically influenced. Thank you so much for that response. Really appreciate. Now, governors have been challenged to account for all the money they have received from the exchanger as they threaten to close down counties for lack of funding. The youth professions from Kiambu County said the citizens have a constitutional right to push for dissolution of the counties and pave way for fresh leadership.
We would request branches that investigate, the DCI and the like, that if the governor tried to shut down these particular counties, we also want them to be investigated on the much money they have gotten from the national government, so that they can account and say, from 2017 or thereabout, since they took over county government, the much money they have received, what have they done? Can they account for it? The Senate hasten this particular process of hearing. And we are saying 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling is the only way out. Otherwise, if that is pushed to that far end, and we don't get what is rightfully ours, what we are going to institute as Wajiko, and we have the power, we the people. What we are going to do, we are going to recall them from those particular seats.
All right, as we speak right now, the senators are still debating on the third generation revenue allocation formula that will be used for revenue distribution across the different 47 counties. And we'll be telling you about the outcome of that prolonged discussion by the senators. Anyway, to other news, a strike notice by doctors in Embu County lapses today, and even as that happens, nurses in that county have also vowed to down their tools tomorrow over several grievances, which include the non-remittance of deducted amounting to over 400 million Kenya shillings. The nurses who were addressing the media in the Runyenjes said that even after having several meetings with the county health officials, nothing has been done over their grievances.
Kuanzia department ya OPD, laboratory, hizo zote zenye zinafanyiwa kazi, watakuwa wamefunga na itabidi watafute huduma kwa hospitali za kibinafsi.
Hii hilani ambayo tulipeana tarehe 19, mkutano wa kwanza tulifanya tarehe 3. Tukaidiwa ya kwamba county wakatuahidi ya kwamba watalipa hizo deductions ambazo walikuwa wamesikata katika payslips, lakini kufikia sasa hakuna deductions ambazo zimelipwa. Hatuchukuliwi na ule umuhimu ambao unafaa. Hatuwezi kuwaamini tena, kwa sababu kama wanaweza kusema wamefanya na tunaenda kudhibitisha ya kwamba hakuna kitu kimefanyika, ni kumaanisha ni mchezo wa paka na panya, na hatutakubali kuendelea katika njia hiyo.
All right, last week we had nurses and doctors from different counties threatening for a strike if their grievances are not looked into, and now we have Embu County, and today is the last day for the 7-day notice that they gave out to the county. Now, Agriculture CS Peter Munya has slammed the judiciary for issuing orders which have a negative impact on agriculture-related projects facilitated by the government. Munya claims some reforms in the agricultural sectors have stalled due to the orders issued by this court. Speaking at Ndakaini Dam in Muranga during a meeting with the farmer representatives from 10 tea factories, the CS said the government is determined to rescue small-scale holders through formulation of effective regulations.
Ningeusi wale wakulima wanahongwa wapatio shilingi 300 ama ile wanapatio. ujue ni jazo ya wakulima wanakula, na ni lazima tii regulations ipite, na hii ndio tunangoja.
KTD inakuja imekuwa kama big money syndrome, yani yenyewe ndio inajikagua.
Tumetengeneza kamati maalum kama wabunge wa Central Province na watu wa Rift Valley, tuangalie hizi regulations na tuangalie maneno ya T-bill.
Ndani chai ndio inasimamia economy ya nchi ya Kenya. Waziri kama mimi mama, hata ningekuomba kama ingekuwa turudishe ile T-board, hata majani na kahawa inafaa kuwa na ministry yake.
President Kenyatta mwenyewe amesema kwa hii muda imebaki anataka kushughulikia hayo mambo.
Kama KTDA iko na companies zingine, tunataka tujue madirectors ni nani, zile pesa ambazo wanaweka huko ni nani anaamua ni nini iko pale. Kama kuna majani insurance, kuna mambo mengi, kuna kampuni zingi wako nazo, lakini who are the directors and who appoints them?
Kulima wa maziwa, ile bei analipwa ni bei ambayo analipa, aweza kulipa kosti zake na pia aweze kupata mapato yake. Kwa hivyo nilikuwa nataka kutangaza hiyo kama policy ya serikali yetu. Kitazama policy ya Ministry ya Kilimo ni hiyo.
All right, the agriculture CS Peter Munye, they are calling on the judiciary through the courts not to interfere with agriculture projects, and he says in effect that will affect the productivity of our countries, talking from the tea department all the way to other agricultural products that we receive as a country. I got someone here, Paris from Kabete. Asante sana for tuning in today. I also see your name is Isaac, and he's saying, hello, Sarah. I like the question that you're asking. The answer is a big yes. Again, as a friend said there is nothing that the NCIC has done, especially if the accused is a big political person. Thank you so much for your feedback today. Now let's go to other news in Sudan. And authorities in that country, that is Sudan, have declared a national state of emergency for 3 months and designated the country's a natural disaster zone after flooding has killed dozens of people. Len Ek Sheikh, the Sudan's Minister for Labor and Social Development, said in addition to 99 deaths, floods this year have injured 46 people, inflicted damage on more than 500,000 people, and caused a total and partial damage and collapse to more than 100,000 homes. The rate of floods and rain this year exceeded the records set during the years 1946 and 1988, with expectations of continued rising indicators.
The agency said on Tuesday,
roads have become too muddy for traffic to pass, making it extremely difficult or impossible to deliver humanitarian aid to some communities. Hygiene and sanitary levels have plummeted due to flooded latrines and contaminated water supplies, preventing people from exercising necessary COVID prevention measures such as regular hand washing.
Well, our prayers and thoughts are with the people of Sudan, and we also need to take care of ourselves during this trying time. The weather is very unpredictable, but we need to be on the lookout. Now, in other news, more than 14,800 firefighters are battling 23 major fires in California, according to the latest report on Sunday by the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection, with several large complex fires triggered actually by lightning. In a statement, California Governor Gavin Newsom issued a state of emergency across 5 countries, including San Diego, San Bernardino, Fresno, Madera, and also Mariposa, following the 3 new fires. Well, the latest 3 fires that have burned tens of thousands of acres and destroyed homes and caused the evacuation of hundreds and thousands of residents, and the governor's office confirmed in that statement.
Authorities say more than 12,000 firefighters are battling more than 20 major fires in California, and officials warn conditions could get even worse because of record-breaking heat. Los Angeles County on Sunday hit 121 degrees. Add to that high winds in many areas, which forecasters say could make the fight even more difficult. There's a new state of emergency in Southern California after a wildfire exploded to more than 70,000 acres in just days. In some locations, the smoke was so thick it blocked the midday sun. Ash covered parts of California like blankets of snow. The so-called Creek Fire devoured entire neighborhoods, making streets unrecognizable.
The fire completely engulfed everything.
Over the weekend, hundreds of people tried to escape a popular campsite in the Sierra National Forest as flames surrounded them. Some headed into the water to try to stay away from the fire.
The fire just moved so fast, so there was only so much we could do.
The National Guard airlifting more than 200 people out of the danger zone. Ambulances met them to transport them to safety. Another fire, the so-called El Dorado Fire, spread to more than 7,000 acres in just hours. Officials report that blaze started by fireworks from a gender reveal party. Mark Martin, CBN.
All right, Britain's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has defended the government's change in position on the use of face coverings in secondary schools in England. Pupils will now be allowed to wear masks between lessons in schools where there are local lockdowns. But elsewhere, it will be upon the school heads, that is the school head teacher, to decide. While in Scotland and Northern Ireland, face coverings have to be worn in all secondary schools, in communal areas and corridors in secondary schools. And in Wales, those aged between 11 and above are recommended to wear them in places where they cannot keep social distancing.
If you're in a hotspot area where there is a higher risk of transmission, then face coverings in those types of areas outside the classroom, but not in the classroom, because that's clearly nonsensical. You can't teach with face coverings, and you can't expect people to learn with face coverings. And the most important thing is just wash your hands.
I think it will protect people and they'll feel safer in school, but because you can have the choice to wear them.
A lot of people from my year group have lived with their grandparents and older relatives, so they really consider about what they do, so they wear masks if they need to.
I have a condition called asthma, but also for the people and students alike and staff as well, and elderly people who I might go and see outside, just for other people's safety too. We can all do our bit, I think.
The idea that students are in a class for the day minimises pupil movement around the building. So students go straight to their lesson and they stay in the room, unless of course there's a break or lunch where they're allowed to have some fresh air. If there are other local lockdowns or Leicester finds itself in lockdown again, we've got a really simple plan in place.
All right, COVID-19 pandemic has had a great extent that led to a great decline to hospital visits across the globe as patients stay away for fear of contracting the disease. It is for this reason that community health volunteers have stepped up to provide the much needed medical assistance services to millions across the country, more so for those that have advanced age. In Northern Tharaka Nithi County, Lucy Wanja visits the elderly and teaches them how to stay healthy, especially during this COVID-19 period.
Kazi yetu ni kuwatembelea watu vijijini, kuwafunza kuwa na afya nzuri, kuwafunza mambo na choo ili wasije wakala uchafu. Huwa tunarifaa tukimkuta mgonjwa nyumbani anaenda hospitali. Mimi huwa natembea kilomita 4 ama 3. Huyu mama ako na miaka 80, huwa haendi shambani, chakula ni kusaidiwa, huwa hafanyi chochote, ndio maana tumeonelea ni vizuri tumtembelee.
The community health strategy has been very helpful. In this COVID-19 pandemic, we tasked them the role of community surveillance. They were put on strategic entry points, whereby they were checking for symptoms. People who may be suspected to have the COVID-19. Then it was reached that we needed at least 72 more units. So the county government initiated the formation. That is the time we created 72 more units. That making 72 plus 28, they made around 100 community health units.
All right. There she is, a very brave lady in Tharaka Nithi North by the name Lucy Wanja, visiting people and especially the elderly and telling them of the importance of visiting a hospital, despite the fact that we have COVID. And it's not only happening in Tharaka Nithi. In different parts of the country, people are not visiting hospitals. Even vaccination, parents are not taking their children for vaccination. And that is important. We need to change that narrative. Go to the hospital if you feel sick. It's safe. as they say, by the Ministry of Health. Well, thank you so much for tuning into the show today. From the group that actually made this show happen today, we wish you a blessed night, and I will see you tomorrow. My name is Sarah Otieno.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.